Welcome back to another episode on the Real American Cougar YouTube channel. I am going to talk about a fear that I had developed over the years, and I call it, what will people think? I was, through my childhood years and young adult years, I was really under a lot of, my parents were overly strict, and a lot of things, normal mistakes that other children would do or young teenagers would do was worse because it was always a what will people think would come up. And I felt like I was under constant scrutiny, first off by my parents, and then as I grew up I felt like I was under constant scrutiny wherever I went. And I just happened to develop this because of the culture that I was raised in. And for years I worried about what other people would think. There's always going to be some haters out there. You're not going to make everybody happy. But I more had the thought that people would look at me and judge me and think of me negatively more than positively. There's a word for it, it's called scopophobia. And that is the fear of others looking at me and judging me. To the point where until recent years, probably maybe the last 10 years, 20 years maybe not 20 years, I was very, very aware because I was brought up this way and I was in tune to worry about what other people thought, and I felt like I was always being watched and people were listening to what I was saying, and I was afraid to make a mistake. That I developed a low self-esteem because of it. I didn't give myself enough credit. Because I dressed differently. I was picked on at school, so that made me worry about what I looked like, so that made it even worse. And then I would walk around places. I'd walk on my way to school and I would just hang my head because I wouldn't want to make eye contact with any of the cars coming by or any people that were out, because I was so afraid of what they would think. I thought everyone was judging me, and I would agonize over small situations. I would agonize over situations at work. I still tend to do this once in a great while. If I have a small situation at work that didn't quite go off the way I planned it, it was a bit negative. If I was going to go to work the next day, I would spend a lot of the evening before just agonizing over, oh no, now what's going to happen? What's this person going to say? What's going to happen at work? And even if it happened on a Friday, I would agonize over it until Monday. And usually by Monday, nobody remembered it. Usually by the next day, nobody cared about it. We were all busy. We had work to do. So I was putting myself through a lot of grief because of this fear that I have. And I can't say had, because I still have this fear. I am still more comfortable going out with people and being around people that I know, and I'm not comfortable going out where I don't know people. Even simple places like the supermarket, the mall, anywhere where there's going to be people passing by, every now and then I will slip back into the idea of, oh my gosh, what is, do I look all right? Afraid to say anything sometimes when you're around new people, afraid to say something dumb. I got to the point where I didn't want to eat alone in public. I was very fearful and anxious, anxiety mainly, not so much fear, but anxious that somebody else would be watching me eat. I don't mind if I have at least one other person to go out somewhere and eat dinner with or eat a meal with, but if I am totally alone, I don't tend to go out. Maybe if I'm traveling, or once in a great while I'm out and I just don't want to cook when I get home, I'll go in and grab something somewhere. But I just would think that, people were watching me. I'll tell you this one, this is way out. You're going to think that I'm totally crazy. I was afraid to use a public bathroom. If I would go in a public bathroom and someone else was in there, I would go in the stall and hide and wait till they was gone until I used the restroom. And I don't understand why I was so, I don't understand. I think it was because as I was growing up, there was a lot of guilt process in learning about cleanliness and bodily functions when I grew up. I was super, super, super modest. And I think that came from that. So, I worry before I go to an event. I worry, how am I going? Do I look okay? Am I going to sound okay? Are people going to accept me for what I am? I still worry once in a while, but I'm working on that. Because to be able to have a nice social life and a full, rounded life as well, you need to be able to be comfortable in whatever you're doing. Around people, there's a lot of places that you have to go that you cannot be private all the time. You cannot hermit at home all the time. It's not good for you, and it wasn't good for me. Everybody has some anxiety when they are doing things, like if you got to get up in front of people and you got to give a report, or people that have stage fright in certain situations. Everybody has, this certain level of anxiety, but when you have as much anxiety that you cannot go out places, and you are invited places even, and you are just agonizing right up to the minute if you're going to go or not, or you're thinking of reasons to talk yourself out of it, you're not in a good place. And that's where I was. I was afraid that I would blush in front of people. I was afraid that if I blushed, and I get that flush, and you get that flushed hot feeling when you blush, that's embarrassing in itself. So I was afraid I was going to be embarrassed and blush. Your heart rate goes up. And one thing I noticed about myself too is when I was anxious around people was I would get a very rigid body posture. I would almost hold my arms into my body. I would almost shrug my shoulders in, and I didn't realize for the longest time that I was doing that. It was kind of like a protective mechanism, but it was not comfortable and only added to my anxiety. So I've been thinking that I really need to accept the fact that there's always going to be people out there. There's always going to be people that don't really agree with what you do, but a lot of these people you don't even know. You don't even know them. They're just walking around doing their thing every day. Probably 90% of the people that you come in contact with, that you're walking around today, do not even see you. They don't even see you. They are busy doing what they're doing. They have things on their mind and things that they're on their way to do. And it is just an error of me to think that everybody is looking and seeing what I'm doing and seeing what I look like. But that was from my upbringing. So I've worked very, very, very hard to try to get out of that situation, to try to be comfortable going to the grocery store. I was so bad to the point where I was afraid to make phone calls. I didn't want to make, not personal phone calls with friends and stuff, but like business phone calls. I didn't want to make business phone calls. I could do it at work. I could do it at work because I had to. But it wouldn't come at home that I had to make different calls to take care of things. I would wait till the very last minute. Back a few years ago, I didn't do my taxes for 2 years because I was afraid to call the tax preparation lady up and tell her, look, I need to do my taxes. Unreal, right? Unreal. So I decided I have got to do something about this for me. In order for me to live my best life, I have got to get off of this idea that I'm totally under scrutiny and get out of this anxiety. Anxiety is not good for anyone. So what I decided to is I didn't want to get into the whole thing about therapy and all this stuff. And I mean, I have had therapy. I do have someone that I talk to every so often. But I needed to realize some basic things. And the basic things that I needed to realize were, you have just as much right to go about your business through the world as everyone else does. If you have things to do and other people out there going and doing, and it doesn't seem to bother them, and like I said, 90% of people that pass you by, they aren't even aware of you. You're just super sensitive, so you got to kind of ease yourself into going out places where you could maybe be around a few people and get comfortable, maybe museums, maybe to the beach, maybe if you have children or grandchildren that play sports, you can go watch the sports games because everybody's there for the same reason. When you go someplace where everybody's there for the same reason, usually everybody just enjoys it, and there's a good feeling there. Everyone has some anxiety, except the fact that everyone has some. You're not the only one who has anxiety. Maybe you have a little more than most people, but everybody has anxiety. Everybody goes about their business, and I learned that, hey, why do people go in the restroom? Everybody goes in the restroom to do the same thing. And everybody knows why they're going in there. So I kind of got more comfortable with going to the public restroom if I'm out, especially if it's nice and clean. That doesn't bother me. Dirty restrooms, that bothers me. But if it's nice and clean, it doesn't bother me as much now. I can, go out and use the restroom. Sunglasses are not just for the beach. If it's not dark out, if it's summertime, if there's enough light that you can wear sunglasses, you don't have the feeling of people looking right at you, because you don't really, even though you might make eye contact with someone, they don't really see you, your whole face, behind the sunglasses. So they're not just for the beach. Throw on your fancy sunglasses, your cheap sunglasses, and go out and have a good time. Be aware of your body reactions. Be aware when you're blushing. Be aware when your heart starts racing. Be aware when you're rigid and you're holding your arms in tight. That way you will know that, hey, I'm having this reaction here and it is really not necessary. I need to loosen up a little bit. Everybody, this is just the world as it is. We're all humans. We all do things. And just relax in the fact that you don't need to be so protective of yourself. You need to let a little bit of yourself out. Go to safe places. Like I said, music places, the beach, the library, movies. Get yourself out to safe places and places where maybe there aren't as many people, but you need to kind of condition yourself to not let your anxiety keep you from enjoying a good social life or being out to where you can meet other people. And creating your life for the best life that you could possibly have now that you're older. And you need to get out and live your life and have that freedom. It's a new kind of freedom when you realize that you're not going to let your anxiety get the best of you, and that everybody has some. We're all human. 90% of us are not looking at anyone else. We're just doing all of our things. So I wanted to share one of my, that's one of my deepest fears. And I haven't really told too many people about it, so I thought I would just, break myself and tell you all about it. I'm so glad that I have the subscribers. Glad for all you people who watch, follow the Facebook page. I just enjoy doing what I do. I just love each and every one of you. I love the comments that I get on Facebook, and I am coming in contact with so many good people through this experience. So I got to get out there. I got to keep in contact with people. I got to lose some anxiety, and I hope you can too, because we all need to get out and enjoy the world. So take care. Peace out.